Senator Black won't be here.
Okay.
They're ready to go.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. It's just barely past noon time. And I want to welcome everybody here to our confirmation hearing. And the first thing we'll do is introductions. And I will start with Representative Underwood.
I'm Joseph Underwood. I'm the state representative of District 147, which is Prescott Howell. Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon, Representative Underwood. Are you in Augusta or are you?
I am in the Aroostook County. I will be in Augusta tomorrow.
Okay. Just Cheryl had to know, wanted to know. Representative Gifford.
Good morning, Senator Dill, Ag Committee. I'm Representative Jeff Gifford. I represent District 142 and live in Lincoln.
Representative Bernard.
Good morning, Chair Dill. I'm Sue Bernard. I represent District number 149, and that's Caribou, Westmanland, and New Sweden.
Senator Maxman.
Hi, I'm Chloe Maxman. I represent Senate District 13, which is Lincoln County plus towns of Washington and Windsor.
Representative Osher.
Hello, I'm Lori Osher. I represent District 123, and that's the majority of Orono. It's the home of the University of Maine.
Representative Hall.
Good afternoon, Representative Randy Hall from Wilton, representing District 114.
Representative Pluker.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. My name is Bill Pluker. I represent House District 95, which is Warren, Hope, Appleton, and part of Union.
And Representative Landry.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Scott Landry. I represent the towns of Farmington and New Sharon here in Franklin County. I live in Farmington.
All right, I think that's everybody that's here now. People could still be joining us. And I am Jim Dill. I represent Senate District number 5, Northern Penobscot County. And we have one confirmation hearing followed by a language review on LD 2013. So since I don't see Representative O'Neill here, I will go to Senator Maxman, if you don't mind, when it's time to move the nomination. Is that okay with you, Senator Maxman? Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, I do have a script that I have to read, and I will do that. This is a public hearing of the Joint Standing Committee on Agriculture, Conservation, and Forestry for the purpose of considering the nomination by the Governor of retired Brigadier General Diane L. Dunn of Newburgh for appointment to the State Harness Racing Commission. Under the law and joint rules of the legislature, this committee is required to hold this public hearing and to recommend confirmation or denial of the nominee by majority vote of the committee members present and voting. As chairs of the committee will then send written notice of the committee's recommendation to the President of the Senate. The committee will hear testimony from and have an opportunity to question the governor or her representative, the nominee, and any other persons present who wish to speak for or against the nomination. This meeting is currently being live streamed on the committee's YouTube channel. This means that anyone who is a participant in the meeting via Zoom can be seen and also heard if the microphone is unmuted. People testifying cannot be seen or heard until they are called upon to speak. This meeting will be recorded and available to view on the committee's YouTube channel soon after the meeting. Motion to confirm pursuant to Title III, Section 157 of the Maine statute, which requires that there be an affirmative motion to recommend confirmation of the nominee. The chair recognizes Senator Maxman for the purpose of making such a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move that we move to confirm this nominee.
Okay. It has been moved that the Joint Standing Committee on Agriculture, Conservation, and Forestry recommend confirmation of retired Brigadier General Diane L. Dunn of Newburgh for appointment to the State Harness Racing Commission. And first, I will recognize the governor's representative, which I think today is Joe Bushy.
Thank you, Senator Dill. Distinguished members of the Joint Standing Committee on Agriculture, Conservation, and Forestry, my name is Joe Bushy, and I am the Deputy Director of Boards and Commissions for Governor Mills. I'm here today on behalf of the governor to speak in support of the nomination of retired Brigadier General Diane L. Dunn of Newburgh for appointment to the Maine State Harness Racing Commission. As you know, the commission is responsible for contracting for the services of qualified people to serve as presiding and associate track judges, to provide adequate policing and enforcement, adopting rules for holding, conducting, and operating all harness meets or meets for public exhibition held in Maine, and for the operation of racetracks on which any such meet is held. Diane L. Dunn is a graduate of Houghton College with a degree in psychology and holds master's degrees in strategic studies from the U.S. Army War College and public administration from the University of Maine. She recently retired after 33 years in the Maine Army National Guard, where she was the first woman to achieve the rank of general and the first woman to command a brigade in the 200+ year history of the Guard. Upon retirement from the National Guard, she joined the staff of the president of the University of Maine as a senior advisor for special projects. In addition to her historic military career and recently begun career at UMaine, Diane Dunn has been involved in the sport of harness racing since childhood. She grew up at the former Lewiston Raceway with grandparents who owned and trained racehorses. And for the past 25 years with her husband, she has owned, bred, and trained racehorses of her own. Diane L. Dunn's lifelong involvement in the sport of harness racing and historic military career would make her an invaluable member of the Maine State Harness Racing Commission. On behalf of the governor, I urge you to support her nomination. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Mr. Bushy? All right, seeing none, I will now recognize retired Brigadier General Diane L. Dunn for her statement.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, Senator Dill, distinguished members of the Joint Standing Committee on Agriculture, Conservation, and Forestry. As noted, my name is Diane Dunn from Newburgh, and I'm here today to discuss with you my nomination to the Maine State Harness Racing Commission. I'm honored by this nomination, and I'm interested in serving in this capacity to further serve my state and the harness racing industry through hard work, integrity, and fairness for all. As mentioned, I grew up in Lewiston, where my grandparents and my uncle owned and trained racehorses, and my mother worked in the clubhouse. I remained involved and connected to harness racing as a groom, owner, breeder, and a board member for the past 40 years. My father-in-law was the race director of Farmington Fair for many years, decades, and my husband and I have owned and operated our stable in Newburgh for the last 11 years. My firsthand experience of the industry, coupled with my professional career in the Guard for over 3 decades, and now my service at the University of Maine, I believe have provided me with valuable tools that will add value to the work of the commission. Additionally, the coursework that was required to earn my master's in public administration at the University of Maine provided me a foundation for understanding the importance of the work the commission is charged to accomplish. I pledge to serve with commitment and passion, which I have demonstrated in all the other facets of my life. I thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions? Representative Hall.
Thank you, Senator Dill, and thank you, Ms. Dunn, for being here. You in relation to David Dunn?
That is the father-in-law that I spoke of.
I'm sorry.
Yes, any other questions? Representative Landry.
I was going to ask the same question, and I guess we can't hold that against her. So good to see you.
Or the fact that I was also born in Farmington, right? The old hospital.
That helps.
Representative Bernard.
Thank you very much, Senator Dill. Not so much a question as just to say, General Dunn, I salute you for your service and thank you so much for your time in the military. My husband actually retired as a member of the Air Guard not so long ago. And so I wanted to make sure to salute you for all the work that you've done and the barriers you've broken. Thank you. And thank you for making yourself available for this particular position, which I think we would all benefit a lot from if you were to go ahead and take this nomination. And I, for one, am looking forward to voting for you.
Thank
there
you,
other-
Representative.
Are there other questions? All right. Next, I will take statements from the floor. And those who wish to speak in person have already pre-registered with the clerk. And if they're not already promoted, and I think most of them have already been promoted, when it is your turn to speak, and I will call on you, state your name, place of and residence prior to presenting your testimony, and state whether either for or against the nomination. And only comments concerning the suitability of this particular nominee for this particular position will be considered in order. All other comments will be considered out of order. And when you are done, we will ask questions if anyone has questions. So with that, the first one I have on my list is Debbie Patterson.
All right. Good afternoon. My name is Debbie Patterson and I reside in Sydney. Good afternoon, Senator Dill, Representative O'Neill, and members of Agricultural Conservation Forestry Committee. My name is Debbie Patterson, and I'm the current Executive Director of the Maine Harness Horsemen Association. I'm speaking today in favor of retired Brigadier General Diane Dunn being a member of the Maine Harness Racing Commission. I've had the pleasure of working with Diane for, I believe, like the last 6 years, as she served on the Maine Standardbred Breeders and Owners Association. She's always been someone that I've looked up to. As a fellow woman, I appreciate her leadership and how she handles herself. She's one of those women that she's a role model, even if she's not trying to be. Just awesome person to be around, to watch how she is, how she conducts herself. It's always with honesty and integrity, most definitely. She would be a tremendous asset to our current Harness Racing Commission. With her long history in harness racing, there's no doubt that she will serve racing the same way that she served her country. So thank you very much for your time.
Are there questions for Ms. Patterson? All right, seeing none, thank you for your testimony.
Thank you.
Next is Michael Cushing. Welcome.
Yes, good morning, members of the Ag and Forestry Committee, Senator Dill. My name is Mike Cushing. I reside in Farmington, Maine. I currently serve as president of the Maine Harness Horsemen's Association. I'm speaking this afternoon to support the nomination of Brigadier General Diane Dunn. I have known Diane Dunn now for about 35 years. I first met her as she was just out of boot camp and was immediately impressed. And I think I played at least some role in her meeting her husband, which I've apologized to her on several occasions. Watching her career in the military has been admirable, to say the least. She is a very rational thinker. I have been on opposite sides of an issue, but I really have watched her work and love the way she includes everybody's opinion before she forms her own, and just does it with grace. And I think her training and her education certainly provided that legwork. I think she'll be a great attribute to bring great attributes to the Maine Racing Commission. Her name has come up several times over the last nearly decade as an outstanding participant or a potential commissioner on this particular spot. But because of the job that she had with the military, she really wasn't eligible to do so. So it's great that this opportunity has come along. She has been a great leader of public service, and this is just going to give a chance to continue that public service in something that she has a great passion for. So I certainly urge you folks to support. If you have any questions, I gladly would take them.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Mr. Cushing? Seeing none, thank you for your testimony.
Thank
you. Next is Timothy Arnold.
Yeah, this is Timothy Arnold from Richmond, Maine. I've been harness racing all my life.
I just, you know, I know Diane of, just recently I met her. I just got onto the Maine Breed Estates, and I thank her for what she's done. And I would, I've just had, a lot of questions, but I'm really, I'm in favor of Diane. And that's it.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Mr. Arnold? All right, seeing none. Thank you for your testimony this morning. Okay. Let's see. All public comments haven't been taken. The committee will now proceed as follows. Vote on the nomination and notify the president of the Senate. The vote must be taken within 35 days. The hearing by the Joint Standing Committee on Agriculture, Conservation, and Forestry for retired Brigadier General Diane L. Dunn of Newburgh for appointment to the State Harness Racing Commission is closed. Taking the vote. In accordance with the law, the committee may not take the vote on the nomination sooner than 15 minutes after the close of the public hearing, unless all committee members who are present agree. Anyone have a problem with taking the vote right now? All right. Therefore, we will proceed as follows. The pending question before the committee is that the Joint Standing Committee on Agriculture, Conservation, and Forestry recommend to the Senate of the 130th Maine Legislature the nomination of retired Brigadier General Diane L. Dunn of Newburgh for appointment to the Harness Racing Commission be confirmed. In accordance with 3 MSR Chapter 6, Section 157 with the joint rules of the 130th, a vote of yes will be in favor. A vote of no will be against. Is everybody ready for the question? Cheryl, please call the roll.
Yes, confirmation of retired Brigadier General Diane L. Dunn. Senator James Dill.
Yes.
Senator James Dill, yes. Senator Russell Black, absent. Senator Chloe Maxman.
Yes.
Senator Chloe Maxman, yes. Senator Representative Margaret O'Neill, absent. Representative Randall Hall.
After serving for several years on the Farmington Fair Board with David Dunn, I think very highly of the family. A definite yes.
Representative Randall Hall, yes. Representative Susan Bernard.
I wholeheartedly vote yes.
Representative Susan Bernard, yes. Representative Lori Osher.
Yes.
Representative Lori Osher, yes. Representative Thomas Schofield, absent. Representative Joseph Underwood.
If Representative Hall voted yes, I'll vote yes too also.
Representative Joseph Underwood. I have something else to say, but I'm not going to say it. Representative Joseph Underwood, yes. Representative Scott Landry.
A definite yes.
Representative Scott Landry, yes. Representative David McCray, absent. Representative Bill Pluker.
Yes.
Representative Bill Pluker, yes. Representative Jeffrey Gifford.
Yes.
Representative Jeffrey Gifford, yes. 9 yes and 4 absent.
So 9 members of the committee having voted in affirmative and 0 in the negative is the vote of the Joint Standing Committee on Agriculture, Conservation, and Forestry that the nomination of Lieutenant Brigadier General Diane L. Dunn of Newburgh for appointment to the State Harness Racing Commission be confirmed. Congratulations.
Thank you to all.
And that concludes our confirmation hearing. And again, congratulations to Ms. Dunn. And thanks everyone to this point. And now we turn to Karen for a language review.
Good afternoon. So I'll share my screen. This is language review for LD 2013, an act relating to PFAS contamination in the state. Most of this you have seen already, but there were a few key changes to the amendment that you reviewed, I guess it was Thursday. So one of the key additions was, and keep in mind, revisor's office is going to reletter these paragraphs, but I just called it A1, so there's no confusion to what I'm referring to. But under subsection 4, purposes of the fund, providing medical care to a person found to have blood levels of PFAS greater than the general population or health effects associated with exposure to PFAS. And another, all of this you've already seen before. And then there were some changes to the advisory committee. You wanted paragraph F, one member of the public with expertise in public health. And at this point, it's appointed by the commissioner of ACF. And I also got rid of language limiting the number of their terms. And then I think the kind of third category of changes had to do with the initial plan and the CDC medical monitoring and blood level testing program. Representative O'Neill kind of rephrased this paragraph B. The department may develop criteria for funding medical monitoring and healthcare for persons found to have blood level exposure to PFAS at a rate greater than the general population, where it is medically relevant to undergo periodic medical examination and healthcare. So I think those were kind of the 3 significant changes. Are there any questions?
Questions from anyone? Comments? I'm assuming you all saw that at least the governor started with $60 million in a change package. So at least that's a start. Hopefully we can convince somebody to up that, but we shall see. Any other questions or comments on 2013? Karen, do you have anything else for us?
I do. The next thing I have for you is the fiscal note for LD 856, an act to balance renewable energy development with natural and working lands conservation. And really, there should be no surprises here, since the committee amendment that I drafted for you included the appropriations and allocation section. So the total was $353,622 beginning in fiscal year 23, and then it increases slightly, the projections. So there should be no surprises here. Are there any questions about this?
I don't see any. Oops, Representative Pluker.
I just got someone texted me mentioning on the 2013 when we're ready to go back. I'd just like to take another look or make a point.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll go back now.
Are you ready? Sorry. I wasn't
Yeah,
sure if you were.
I was just gonna pull
She
it
was
up.
just pulling it up in case we need to see a section or something.
So in the unallocated language in 2A3, it looks like we're including the residential wells, but then in the purposes, it's not clear that the residential wells are included. I guess it's a question, Karen, if you have a comment.
I guess it wasn't clear to me. I thought DEP had a program for testing residential wells. So
think
It's
the
not
intent-
explicitly included.
I think the intent was to include healthcare for the those impacted by residential well contamination.
Well, it is because paragraph A1 does not refer to commercial farms or farmers. So it's providing medical care to a person found to have blood levels of PFAS greater than the general population or health effects associated with exposure to PFAS. So there's no agricultural limiting factor there. It could be anyone.
Okay, and in the lead in to that section, it also is not explicit about commercial farming. I don't have it in front of me. That's what I'm just asking.
The lead-in is allocations from the fund may be made as determined by the department upon recommendation of the advisory committee and for the following purposes. You know, and the monitoring is specific to agricultural land found to be contaminated, but the providing medical care is not.
Great. That's perfect. Thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions before we leave this? Okay. Anything else for us, Karen?
Yes. I finally have a fiscal note for LD 219. I'll share my screen. So you've seen the committee amendment before, but now, so this is enact to enhance the agricultural marketing loan fund by establishing a variable interest rate for loans and to allow participants in the main farms for the future program to borrow at that rate. Did we change the title? Yes. So it's really an act to improve the agricultural marketing loan fund and agricultural development grant. If you recall this, the intent was to sort of decouple those two programs. But again, the fiscal note should not be any surprise because the summary of the committee amendment talks about the state controller transferring $550,000 from the general fund undedicated revenue to the agricultural development grant annually. I'm just going to go down to the fiscal note here. So the fiscal note shows that, and then it also, the committee amendment also directs FAME to transfer the balance of interest in the agricultural marketing loan fund and any previously awarded agricultural development grant funds that have not been paid to grantees to the agricultural development fund. So the amount of these transfers will not be known until the transfer is made, but the bill includes a one-time allocation of $150,000 in fiscal year 23 to allow expenditure of that amount. So that's why you see this amount in fiscal year 23. Any questions about this?
I don't see any.
Okay, and I have one more. LD 174. Fiscal note. No. Sorry. Screen share. You have seen the committee amendment before. So this is basically directing the Office of Policy Innovation and the Future to act as a lead agency to implement the strategic plan to end hunger in the state. And here is the fiscal note. So I guess the agency felt like they needed 4 positions for this committee amendment. So it provides ongoing general fund appropriation of $603,246 in fiscal year 23 to the Office of Policy Innovation in the Future, GOPIF, for 1 public service coordinator 2 position and 3 public service coordinator 1 positions, and related all other costs to design and implement the strategic plan And I guess the bill also provides a one-time general fund appropriation of $180,000 in fiscal year 23 to GoPIF for the design and implementation of a communications campaign for the strategic plan. Any additional costs to the Departments of Health and Human Services, ACF, and Transportation to implement the provisions of the bill are expected to be minor and can be absorbed within existing budgeted resources. Any questions?
Yes.
Representative Fluker.
We were told by GoPIF back when we, I don't know if we were waiting, we've been waiting on this fiscal note for months now. And we were told at the time that there was gonna be 2 positions costing maybe $200,000 or maybe 1 position with an additional $100,000. This $600,000 is completely taking me. I had no idea that this was coming. Is there any way I can, what's my process if I need to go back to GoPIF and have a conversation saying they've changed the conversation?
Well, I can hang on to this for now, and I can let OFPR know that the committee has concerns about the fiscal note, if everyone's all right with that. And then because OFPR did contact me and asked if the committee had any discussions about 4 positions, and I said no. So I'm not surprised that you are surprised.
And so if we just hold on to it and I am successful in getting them to hear that we need fewer than 4 positions for it, do we need to come back together as a committee for another kind of language review? Or I don't want to hold the committee up and moving on and having this be our last time getting together.
Yeah, so I guess, if I can circle back with OFPR and let them know that there are concerns. And I would recommend, obviously you have a conversation with GoPIF, and then maybe, I don't know if OFPR will follow up with them. And then we're kind of running out of time in terms of committee meetings. I think we will be getting another bill this week, but I'm not sure if we'll have the fiscal note by the time we meet next. So review might happen by email.
Okay, I'm fine with that. I just didn't want the committee to have to come together again for this issue.
Yep.
We're heading another.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a minute. Representative Underwood.
Yes, I'd just like to know what Representative Pluker, what is GoPIF? What does it stand for, please? Who is it?
Yes, the Governor's Office of Policy and
Innovation in the future.
In the future.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Representative Osher.
Yes, I just had emailed Karen asking what the wording was for that line item that I put in at the end of the last meeting we had, and I wasn't able to find it when she was very prompt in sending me back a large document, but I wasn't able to find the one line. So I'm just asking if I could see that.
So are we all set with 174? I'll hang on to it until for a few days, and maybe I'll check back with you, Representative Fluker.
Yes, please. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Is the rest of the committee fine with that?
Anybody opposed to that? Nope. Okay.
So going back to Representative Osher's question, there's no line item to look at. It's just described in the budget memo what the committees, what they would like to see as a change in the supplemental budget. So that was described in the memo. So you won't, until appropriations discusses it, and it won't be seen at this point.
So did you sent that memo?
Yep, it's the first 2 pages of the very long document.
Okay.
The rest of it is the report back template with all your votes.
Representative Underwood, do you have your hand up, sir?
Yes, what is the change that Representative Osher is referring to?
Let me get my budget folder.
Representative Osher, can you briefly describe it while she's looking for it, please?
Yeah, we had a vote at the end of the last committee meeting. You were in opposed, and everyone else that was present was in favor. It was a line item to have the commissioner have funds that could be sent to the University of Maine to further investigate how the state might go about incentivizing carbon storage in soils. So, and because we had a resolve to have the ACF and IF&W review how the state might do that. And so they sent to us a preliminary report in March, and they're going to send us another one in September. But once they send us the next one, we won't have the ability to meet to encourage them to continue that process of figuring out how the state might do that. So I put in a line item to continue that process of figuring out how the state might incentivize carbon storage in soils.
Thank you very much.
Anything else, Karen?
Just a gentle reminder to Representative Osher. I need, I guess, approval for the minority report to LD 2021. Just let me know if it looks good as soon as you can, please.
So I have to send back an email?
Yes, please.
All right.
And we still have LD 2012, I think it is the number, though, hanging out there, and that's the timberland harvesting in municipalities. It was tabled in the Senate, and the request went out for some more information, which I believe has been forwarded to the president. So I asked him today if we can take it off the table and forward it to our committee so we could work it on, have a hearing on it on Wednesday. And I haven't heard back what his decision is, but I'm hoping we can, so we can be done with it, and we'd have one more, hopefully fairly quick meeting scheduled sometime on Wednesday. So, Representative Pluker.
Was that you said the word hearing. I wasn't clear if it was a public hearing or a work session.
Public hearing and work session right after it.
Oh,
It was a committee, it was a committee bill. Anything else, Karen?
So if the committee meets on Wednesday, is the assumption it would be 9 a.m. and all electronic?
You got, it would definitely be all electronic. It would be a virtual meeting. I don't know if SLG, are they meeting on Wednesday, Cheryl?
No, but Maggie mentioned she couldn't meet before 12.
Right. She's in
on
class.
Mondays and Wednesdays.
Yep. So it might be at noon again. But we won't know until tomorrow whether it's even referred to us. So it's just kind of like, hopefully it will be. Because I'm not sure after this week if we even get permission to meet. You know, Karen?
The 25th is Friday, and I really don't. The memo just talks about till Friday, so
right.
I think the opportunities will be slimmer and slimmer.
Right. So hopefully we can work it in on Wednesday. Anything else, Cheryl?
Just keep an eye out for jackets that I send you for approval.
Okay. I guess that's it for today. Can I have a motion to adjourn? Representative Landry motion, seconded by Representative Bernard. All in favor? None opposed. Thank you all.
Have a great afternoon.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.